Thank you for listening to my presentation. The subject of blockchain technology has widespread use. One of the main uses today is game theory. Does anybody in this room play video games? Okay. Is anybody in here competitive nationally or internationally? No? Okay. Does anybody, I guess if that answers the question, nobody is being paid for, because the technology that we're talking about, blockchain technology in game theory, is actually paid with tokens, which is blockchain technology. So nobody has been paid, so I need not to ask that question. Well, has anybody won any game skins or virtual cards in video games? Okay, see, this is all blockchain technology, what we're talking about. And young adults should take advantage of the opportunity that's being offered right now. These include the developers who design their own games, which programmers design. Anybody heard the game of Spellogenesis or Argumentos or Magic Academy or Hunter Coins? None of those sound familiar. Well, these were all developed by individuals that play video games, and they developed their own games. I believe Fortnite is probably one of the premier, but it's a bit of a stretch to use that as in blockchain because it's so broad, and blockchain right now has not scaled up to that level. But it's the same theory of using that same progression of technology. Whenever there's been change and progress, there's been a lot of disruption. Throughout history, this has happened. Disruption is the way things regularly get, progress is not normally done. The computer, for example, when it came into being, it was very disruptive in our business model, where secretaries normally typed in a typewriter. No longer do we have a typewriter. And hundreds of other things went away when the computer came along. So the technology that we're talking about now, blockchain technology, is where we're going. But we can't really say where we're going with the technology because it changes. The point here is that young adults need to think outside the box, inside some of the things that they want to do to change society. Because the various technologies that we use, that will be used in the future, will be developed by you and to be used by you. And it will take your creative ideals to make sure these are what you want and what everybody else want, and things that will be beneficial to us as we try to make our presence and our what we want to, how we are going to present ourselves as individuals. I work in the aerospace industry where I work in a metrology lab where we inspect a lot of parts that are used for aircraft. That job now, my job used to be where I took a gauge and put it on mounted on a thing and use complex angles, trigonometry, to get it all into a certain configuration so I can measure it to make sure it hasn't been worn down. I don't have to do that no more. In fact, my job now has been replaced by what they call now a CMM machine, coordinate measuring machine. These machines do everything that I do, except they don't need to use these compound angles. They just go right to it and measure the part. So today the computer does all the work, and I might have to make a few adjustments to accommodate what I need to do to accomplish my job, which is still calibration and inspection of parts that are used in the aerospace industry. I say all that to make the point that all technology is constantly progressing. You and I know this, and you should be looking at ways that use this technology to your community's benefits. Soon there would not be a need for books in schools. I don't know, they may be not using books that much today. But this is all changing, you know, this disruption in our society. This disruption is nothing but progress that we're all experiencing, and we're all gonna have to go through that. In the 90s, people even questioned the internet. There was a lot of people who even said, why do we need the internet? This was in the 90s, you know, and now, of course, the question is, what can we do without it? And that's the same thing that is happening with blockchain. Blockchain is changing a lot of the things that we do, a lot of things, how we do things, and so we have to be ready to accept that change, and how we're going to be a part of that, we need to make that point right now. Blockland Cleveland is offering young adults an opportunity to be at the forefront of this technology. That will be a long-term benefit to all people. Just like the internet, blockchain technology will be used by everybody. Everyone will be using this technology. Just like the computer, everybody's using the computer now. As mentioned earlier, your passion may be gaming, but that in the future may be something different. And this disruption that we talked about that right now we talk about in blockchain technology is what we're experiencing. I don't know if anybody here was here before the computer, but the computer was is one of the big disruptions that happened in the 90s, and a lot of people question why do we even need it. So today, this question is, what will we do without it? In Blockland Cleveland, I am with the talent and development and retention node. We call them nodes, but they're groups of people that, and we have 10 of them, all different ones. And we have one in our a node that's called the Next Gen node. This is a group of people that are young, that are willing to make that, looking at some of the things that we're doing today and how we're going to change the technology that we have in front of us, how we're going to change it, how we're going to use it. So our organization will be on the leading edge of this change. Our Blockland Cleveland will be on the leading edge, and we hope that the next gen, yourself, like-minded people, also will join us to be part of that movement. Many of your ideas are among your peers. Your creativity is much desired. So a lot of things that we may have, we don't even think about because we're past that point where we think that we might think we know it all, but we need to be more aware of what we're doing. I'm sure many of you, young men and women, may have figured out that you may not even want to use the technology as a career in the future. Even if you think that way, technology is going to still be there, and you're still going to have to deal with it, however it affects your life. So learning blockchain technology will still benefit some of you in part of your life. As an older person like myself, I suggest that you take all the opportunities that are out there that are in front of you. And one of the easiest and the lowest hanging fruit right now is blockchain technology. And Blockland Cleveland is doing everything we can to make sure our young people are at the forefront of all this technology that is in front of us. So we want you to be able to use all the things that are in front of you, and there may be a lot of different ones, but blockchain is one that I myself got involved with just as a small investor, and then of course I became more involved because I've seen the benefits of how blockchain technology is an equalizer. It kind of levels the playing field. It makes everybody the same. And so we need to be able to accept that change and accept why this technology is important to us, and I know why it's important to me. And it's not the money part; it's the part that how we benefit from using the technology. And I just want to end by saying Blockland Cleveland is now in its early stages, conceptual stages of offering classrooms for students that want to learn. We're in the early parts of that, where we want the school system to be part of what we're doing, and we're working with the state and the school systems to get students involved in this technology, because it is going to be here, just like the computer came along. It's going to come and it's going to change the way we do things. So our goal in Blockland Cleveland is to make sure everybody, all our young people, are there to make sure that they're having some input in this. That level playing field is there. And we need to make sure that everybody gets a part of that. One of the things that we need to also talk about is when I say level playing field, is the women and minorities are not going to be left out this time. They're going to be part of this, and everybody needs to be on board accepting that, because in the past, if you look at the situation now in all technology, whether it's Facebook or Instagram or whatever, it is dominated by one class of people, and that's a white dominant male. But that's not a problem, because we're still progressing. These individuals that are in those positions know that it's not sustainable that we have that situation. We need an equal playing field. So so when I say it's the easiest option, and that is learning the technology, that's what Blockland Cleveland is trying to do. We need to make sure that our brightest students and young students are part of this and plan a big part of it, so that we will not be like dominated by one class of people again. So that's why it's important that everybody becomes a part of that. We want students to be designers, to design their own video games, not just end users, but also the people that put these games together. So if you're into if you're really into the video games, there's background stuff that's going on that's in these games that you probably want to, that you should be able to know about, and also know how you can make that part of your life. So I just want to end right there, and hope you all can join us in our endeavor to make Blockland Cleveland successful. Thank you.